This is Temeika Thomas, and you're watching Black Tea Talk.
Ms. Thomas, pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too.
And let's start with asking, what is your current profession?
So I am a teacher. I teach first grade with Del Valley Elementary, Del Valley School District. The reason why, so people always ask me this question, why don't you teach in Manor? I cannot be on the school board and teach in this district. So it's not that I don't love Manor, but it's against the rules. So.
Well, how long have you been teaching?
I have been in education for 17 years.
Wow.
So I started off actually as a teacher's assistant at Hyde Park Baptist way back in like 2003. So.
Okay, so you've only taught, what, first grade, you said?
Oh no, I taught first grade, second grade, pre-K, and then I do a summer program with Youth Harvest Foundation from 11-year-olds to 18-year-olds. So I've taught a wide variety of students.
Cool, so you're very experienced in the job that you're actually applying for. That's cool. So now, we're going to get kind of touchy, because as I understand it, now you're currently the Manor School Board from a previous election, but who did you replace for that seat?
So
like, how did that come about?
Okay, so it's not really touchy. Johnny Jonesy position was available. It was a special election. So a lot of people are asking, why are you running again so soon? That seat was only for 2 years, and then it went to a regular election for another 4 years.
So you're running for the official seat for the official time limit, right?
Yes. So a special election, I did it for 2 years, so I'm still in place 5. I'll be in place 5 on November 3rd, so look for me there.
That's cool. Now, what I kind of meant by it was kind of touchy. There's just a community atmosphere regarding a reputation from Manor administration for corruption and misappropriation of funds. Kind of turns a lot of people off about voting. So, do you think that's like fair criticism for Manor?
Yes. Okay. So not just from the previous administration, the one that just left out. They had their own issues as well.
This has been going on for some time, right?
Yes. So even when I went to school at UT, one of the case studies was Manor ISD. So one of the things that I have been working on for the last 2 years and will continue to work on when reelected is to really work on systems. Because if you keep changing the people, you've changed the school board, you've changed superintendents, and you still have some of the same core issues, you really got to look at the systems and say, why is this being allowed to continue?
So give me an example of what part of the system you think is not working correctly.
Okay, cool. So if you saw our recent school board meeting, some of the things that I want to get changed is using trustees' signatures and putting trustees on bank accounts without their consent.
Who would use someone else's signature and put on an account? What do you mean by that? Kind of explain.
Okay, so the signature, so two different things. So contracts that come and are represented by the board, we have e-signatures. And my proposal is before you use our signature for anything, you need to have it in writing that that board member is approving that item. So what the district has said has been their practice is to take those e-signatures, put them on contracts, and the board member may or may not know that they're even signing for something. So I'm saying that
So has that been done?
Yes, that's the reason why I'm saying that's
Wow.
a problem. The other thing is with the bank account situation, I in particular was put on a bank account as an employee, so they didn't have to have my signature. So just a little
Was
bit.
that with your permission, your
No.
authorization or not?
No, absolutely not.
Who would do a thing like that?
So in order for any accounting to be done, it has to be done through the finance department. But the finance department also has to have the authorization from the superintendent at the time. So the superintendent at the time.
So the superintendent was able to authorize e-signatures of board members.
Well, e-signatures is one thing, but the putting my name on the bank account was authorized So two different things. So it was authorized, the person who put my name on the account was given permission by the superintendent at the time. So nothing happens unless that, from a finance situation or an accountability for large sums of money, unless the superintendent signs off on it.
So this is a superintendent-based issue, or something that the school board can kind of come remedy?
Both. So one, the school board needs to come back and we need to look at our current policies. And then where there is no policy, we need to create one to make sure that signatures and information cannot be put on any accounts or any document, period, without the approval of the actual trustee that's being put on the accounts.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying y'all need another system of checks and balances. How does your
Yes.
system, so how does your suggestion of checks and balances differ from your opponent?
So
Where do y'all differ on these issues as far as having a person legitimately sign his signature versus using an e-signature?
Well, I don't know what his opinion is because I can't speak for him. I can just tell you
That's fair.
what has happened. What has happened is that they have used my information without me knowing it, and other board member signatures without them knowing it. So to me, the key is to have policy that prevents them from doing that. Period.
We got you. And that's going to be something that you come in and immediately focus on is checks and balances, or?
Yes, I've already asked them for it at the last board meeting. So whether I'm there or not, I'm hoping that it's something that takes effect immediately.
Tell me this, give me one more thing about the school board. So, just a general question. What is normally the function of a school board?
So we are to set the vision for the superintendent. People think that we have all of these employees in the district that we are over. We have one employee, and that is the superintendent. We cast the vision, we say, hey, for example, we want to make sure that we have programs that all school scholars are on grade level. Then that superintendent comes back and he maps out a plan that carries out that vision. So whatever that looks like, the superintendent carries out the vision of the board. And this is very important because the board functions based off the information given to them by the superintendent and the administration. So when we get information, we get it from them. So if that information is not accurate, then we're making decisions based off accurate information.
Gotcha. So with that being said, what is the current time frame for elected board members? You said you served, 2 years, but the full term is 4?
The full term is 4.
The full term is 4. Mm-hmm. And so I take it you were ready to take up that task.
Yeah, well, not just from the political kind of policy aspect, but we have some real things that have to change. Our GT students have to have individual education plans that allow them to...
GT students, gifted and talented?
Yes, gifted and talented students. So our gifted and talented students are amazing, but right now, some of our policies to me are limiting. So we have to make sure that if a student is AP, English, and reading, but they're really bad in math, that they're given the opportunity to take AP courses and the subjects that they're great at, and then have regular courses for the ones that they're not.
Now that makes even making sure that y'all have educators to support that task even more important.
Yes,
So budgets concerning shortfalls of teacher salaries, wouldn't that affect that particular mission as far as those particular children?
Well, I have been fighting for the last 2 years so we got one budget increase of 4%, but we were so far behind AISD and the surrounding districts that, yes, I appreciate that we were able to give some increase to our employees, not just teachers, because our custodians are being grossly underpaid. Our bus drivers, as a district,
you're trying to improve.
Trying to improve the pay that we give our employees. Because the reality is, especially during COVID, you're literally risking your life to come to work, and you're getting paid substantially less than the other school districts. But when we're losing money that we can't account for, that really doesn't help us move the mission forward of being able to do pay increases for our employees.
And that's a lot of the complaints for the Manor community, is that the funds that are there aren't going toward where they're needed to go as far as supporting those particular functions. So tell me this. So early voting is October 13th.
Yes.
What do you want the voters specifically to know about Ms. Temeika Thomas?
Well, so one, that I am fighting for transparency on every level, that we should be able as a community to come in and look at our bond funds online, on the website, and see where we are in spending and what we still have left, what projects we've started and what projects we still have left. I'm really advocating that we have been for the last 4 years really focusing on progress with each student. That is great. That moved us from a B to a B. Now what we need to really focus on is individual student achievement. This is why it's important. If your child made a 27 last year and they make a 27 this year, that is still considered a year's growth. And that's great for our accountability score, but it's not great for your child. I want every child to be on grade level or above when they graduate, because the worst thing you can do is to have a high school diploma that you really can't function and you really don't have the skills to use. And this is the reason why I even started running the last time. The data shows that students who graduated from Manor took 7 years to get an associate degree. And that's what made me say, hey, we have a serious problem with our literacy program. If students are not able to take that diploma and function on the highest level of education. And that's what it's really about. So whether they go to college, whether they go to trade school, whether they do something else with their life, if that diploma doesn't stand for, I can really be a productive member of society, and I'm really educated to the point of being able to provide for myself, then we got to do better by that piece of paper. Because we can't just be given pieces of paper if our students aren't able to truly compete on a national level.